Lost cosmonauts. Were the first humans in space actually left behind, helplessly drifting away from Earth, with no hope for return? While official records state that Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space on April 12, 1961, a haunting set of radio recordings points to cover-ups of earlier manned missions that reached space, but with terrifying ends. The recordings were made and released by a pair of Italian radio operators named Achille and Giovanni Judica-Cordiglia, operating out of an abandoned German bunker in the Italian countryside left over from World War II. The brothers managed to successfully intercept and record transmissions from the Soviet and American space programs in the 1950s and 60s. 9 of their recordings were purportedly linked to failed Soviet manned space missions that saw cosmonauts lost in space or burnt up on re-entry, including several that occurred before Yuri Gagarin's celebrated flight. The first of these recordings is claimed to be from an unnamed cosmonaut who was trapped in Earth's orbit after his capsule veered off course in May 1960. A second, more famous recording occurred in November of 1960, when the brothers captured a Morse code SOS signal from a spacecraft that had broken free of Earth's orbit, growing ever fainter as it drifted into open space. Over the next 3 years, the brothers would record transmissions from 3 other manned Soviet spacecraft that seemed to vanish into deep space, as well as 4 from spacecraft that encountered trouble and burnt up on re-entry, including the audio transmission of a female voice, highly distressed. What follows is that very recording. Translations of the message reveal its alarming content. Quote, "Listen, listen, come in, come in, come in. Talk to me, I'm hot." As she continues, the cosmonaut grows increasingly fearful for her life. Quote, "Breathing, oxygen, oxygen, I am hot. Isn't this dangerous? Talk to me." Not long after she reports feeling hot and seeing a flame, she asks, quote, "Am I going to crash?" "Yes, yes." 3 days after the Italian brothers made this recording, the Soviets announced the failed re-entry of a satellite that had not been previously mentioned, but the loss of any crew was denied. While the Soviets deny the authenticity of these specific recordings, they are known to have gone to some lengths to alter the reported history of their early manned space program, including feeding false stories to the press and altering mission photos to remove certain individuals. To this day, the truth of the cosmonauts lost in space and the identity of the frantic woman remain unknown. Trapped in a cave. In 2017, when Lucas Kavar, a 19-year-old student from Indiana University, descended into Sullivan Cave with a group of like-minded explorers from the university's caving club, he had no idea just how long he'd be down there. Sullivan Cave is the 4th longest cave in Indiana, with almost 10 miles of mapped passages, and it's considered to be one of the most perilous to explore without expert guidance. This being Lucas's first caving experience, he and the other 11 explorers, including one member of university staff, were each assigned a buddy and divided into 2 main groups. When Lucas's group reached an extremely low-ceilinged feature of the cave, known as the backbreaker, he became separated from the others. He then sought out the other half of the expedition, but became lost in the twisting, cavernous tunnels. Lucas found himself trapped without food, water, or cell phone reception, and surrounded by darkness, which was filled with a variety of cave-dwelling creatures. He hopelessly screamed for hours, hoping to get someone's attention, and despite having limited battery, Lucas made a series of telling notes on his phone. One note read, quote, "Right now I need some rest and thinking. Battery around 56% of phone, and headlamp seems fine so far. Should try to conserve. Good luck, me." As night fell, he followed this up with a description of his environment, quote, "Many salamanders all around. Possible food source. Spiders, too. Disconcerting. Killed as many as I could find in vicinity, thinking of family. It gradually became apparent to Lucas that he wasn't just lost, he was forgotten entirely and left behind by the caving group. A day later, Lucas made another note, quote, "Night 2 is about to begin. Let's hope the temperature change isn't too drastic. Bats and snakes coming out. Feels like Halloween coming early." By this point, Lucas was licking the walls for moisture and had given serious consideration to eating the insects around him. Yet another message left to himself, or perhaps whoever would find his body, read, quote, 3:45, missed all classes today. Surely somebody will have noticed by now. After 58 hours, the caving club finally realized their terrible mistake. A rescue party's torch beam flooded the caves, waking Lucas where he slept, and he was able to scramble out of the cave. Investigations found that there had been a buddy check, but that Lucas's buddy had assumed he was with the second half of their group. A failure of leadership to follow the proper protocols was blamed for the incident. Left at sea. On January 25, 1998, Americans Tom and Eileen Lonergan were partway through their Australian vacation when they embarked on a guided diving tour, much like those enjoyed by other tourists every year. Tom and Eileen already shared a mutual love of scuba diving and were keen to experience the Great Barrier Reef. They boarded a boat named the Outer Edge, which took them far out to sea. After just under an hour beneath the surface, they emerged to find that their boat and guides had abandoned them. The particular waters in which Tom and Eileen found themselves are home to tiger sharks, which measure up to 5 meters in length, and are the most aggressive species of shark and the most likely to attack humans. None of the crew or passengers on the Outer Edge noticed the couple's absence, and it went unreported by 2 full days, until the skipper and boat owner Jack Nairn discovered some of Tom and Eileen's belongings on his boat. A massive military search party ensued, by both air and sea, but came to no fruition. Months later, artifacts began to wash up, which hinted at the couple's fate. A wetsuit was first, in Eileen's size, along with dive jackets which had Tom and Eileen's names on them. These items, along with Eileen's fins and air tanks, were found on a beach around 75 miles from the dive site. Inspection of Eileen's wetsuit revealed a level of barnacle growth which indicated it had been submerged since January, and tears which appeared to have been caused by an impact with coral. Furthermore, a diver's slate was recovered, containing a message which read, quote, Monday, January 26, 1998, 8 a.m. To anyone who can help us, we have been abandoned on Agincourt Reef by MV Outer Edge, 25th January 1998, 3 p.m. Please help to rescue us before we die. Help. Lawyers for the Outer Edge later claimed that, based on Eileen's journal entries, Tom had a death wish and argued that blame could not be placed on Jack Nairn. One of Eileen's entries read, quote, He hopes to die a quick and painless death, and he hopes it happens soon. Others suggested that the couple may have staged their disappearance. However, their bank accounts and insurance policies remained untouched. The possibility of murder was even suggested. Ultimately, however, Jack Nairn was held culpable. He pleaded guilty to negligence, but was found not guilty of manslaughter, despite having abandoned Tom and Eileen in those perilous waters. Experts suppose that Tom and Eileen fell afoul of exhaustion and delirium from dehydration and likely drowned. However, no remains have ever been found. Whatever happened to the Lonergans, it seems as though Tom did not get his wish of a quick and painless death. Odessa Catacombs. Beneath the streets of Odessa, Ukraine, lies a labyrinthian network of disorienting subterranean tunnels. Stretching for 2,500 kilometers and reaching depths of 200 feet, the Odessa Catacomb system is one of the largest in the world. This confusing maze of bunkers, tunnels, natural caves, and storm drains is believed to have claimed several lives. The most infamous of these stories is that of a student named Masha. Late on New Year's Eve 2005, Masha and her friends descended into the catacombs with a supply of alcohol. Here, they decided to stay the night, drawn by the promise of privacy and an eerie atmosphere. Later, once inebriated, the group decided to explore, and Masha became separated from her friends. Some versions of Masha's story suggest that this was deliberate, that her companions had abandoned her as a joke. When they couldn't find her, Masha's friends left, assuming she had gotten out and gone home to bed. This, however, was not the case. Masha wandered the Odessa catacombs for 3 days in pitch darkness, with no food or water. It is believed that Masha's chosen direction took her further from the entrance and deeper underground. Her most probable fate was to die of either hypothermia or dehydration. 4 months later, rumors began to circulate amongst local explorers that a body had been spotted deep underground, a reasonably fresh body, and an unofficial expedition was launched. This group found a body and took a haunting photograph that was circulated widely online, with 3 explorers posing behind it. 2 years later, the body had not been recovered, so a local by the name of Kostya Pugovin decided to retrieve it, believing there may be a reward attached. He dragged the body, which had now become very decomposed, to the police station. DNA tests found no match, and Pugovin was told that it was likely the body of a, quote, Satanist who got lost. In addition to the legend of Masha, a man in his 20s was more recently sentenced for offing his girlfriend with an axe in the catacombs, and legends indicate that there is a solid gold replica of the Titanic stashed somewhere beneath the school. Others claim that the tunnels are the site of mass World War II graves containing large numbers of corpses, and some evidence indicates that soldiers were once executed in the tunnels beneath Odessa. While there is little evidence to support the story of Masha and her friends, besides the photo circulated online, the Odessa catacombs are known to have been the location of multiple murders, and there is little doubt that numerous overconfident explorers have been lost to their depths. Roanoke Colony. In the late 16th century, the English writer, soldier, and explorer Sir Walter Raleigh attempted to establish one of the first English settlements in North America, in what is now North Carolina. The result of his efforts became known as the Roanoke Colony, and later as the Lost Colony. While the expedition leader, John White, was forced to return to England, he left a detachment of over 100 colonists to form the new settlement and intended to return with supplies the following year. White's return to Roanoke was delayed for 3 years, until he finally returned in 1590 to find the entire settlement fortified but abandoned with no obvious cause. Mysteriously, the word Croatoan was carved into a palisade, which White took to mean that the group had relocated to Croatoan Island, but further investigations were halted by rough seas. White, whose own daughter and granddaughter were amongst the colonists, never found them, and while many theories have attempted to explain what happened to the 112 to 121 colonists, none have been confirmed. Popular theories include that the colonists either assimilated into the local Native American Algonquin communities or were annihilated by them in a merciless massacre. The search for evidence as to the Roanoke colony's fate persists to this day, with some modern archaeological digs finding English bones and a 2020 investigation yielding artifacts, including a sword and a gun, which are believed to have belonged to the group. These artifacts were found 50 miles west of the colony, at a site that had been hidden on a 16th century British map using invisible ink. With historians still debating its fate and clues still appearing, the search for the Roanoke colony continues. Thank you for watching Dark 5. Don't forget to like and subscribe to continue exploring the greatest mysteries of this world and beyond. Your support and engagement help my videos get seen by even more people. And let me know in the comments if you know other creepy tales of people that were left behind.